And Kelsey, I'm going to pick on you. We've got a lot of staff on today to help answer questions, but we really don't have a presentation today. So what questions do you have for us?
Turn my camera on, sorry.
That's okay, no worries.
So I'm actually joining from the Michigan PCA. I don't have a lot of questions so much as I just try to be on so that if anything new pops up or, if there's anything shared that I thought might be helpful.
Okay.
For the health centers.
Yeah, and you were on our training last week, right?
I don't remember.
Maybe not. Okay. We did a day-long workshop last week. And then there's 3 more. There's one in March and one in April and one in May. So we cover a wide variety of topics on those.
Okay. Since you do have a fair amount of staff on, can I ask right now, there's a question that's popped up about how other states are handling, how the other state Medicaid agencies are handling claims that are secondary to Medicare for the G2025. And I'm curious if you have any or any of your staff have insight on that.
The G2025 is a specific for RHCs or FQHCs, right?
Correct.
Our one person that is more familiar than the rest of us with those is not on, but I can certainly ask her and see what we can find out. Would you mind sending me an email just so I've got your email address?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have mine? I'll put it in the chat here. For the most part, our association deals more with critical access hospitals. And then we have a couple people that work on FQHC, RHC stuff. So I don't want to speak out of turn.
I'll shoot you an email. Thank you.
Absolutely. I heard, I've been working with some folks from Michigan on the Michigan Genetics Network out of, they're out of Lansing. I can't remember if they're university based or if they're from they're part of the Michigan Public Health Institute. And they were saying that with COVID, they're just starting to open up restaurants and stuff up there.
Yeah, a couple, I think at the beginning of February, they took us from like no indoor dining to 25%. So yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. Do you know where your COVID positive percentages are?
Not I don't have a very current number. It was at the height, it was up around 13%. And I think the last I saw was like 5.7 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it dropped pretty.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're in the low 4s here in Indiana. And
that's great.
So if you think about Indianapolis and the counties surrounding that, I live in one of the counties surrounding that, and we went out to breakfast and it looked like they were at full capacity. But I know in the larger cities, I don't know what it is up by Lafayette or down in Terre Haute, in the larger cities, it's not. And I think Indianapolis is getting ready to go from maybe 50% to 75%, maybe.
So I actually happen to live about an hour north of the border. So we have people who keep track of what's happening in Indiana too, just because that's their, they're pretty close. So
absolutely. Yeah, a lot of border folks. Yep.
Can I share too? I'll just share with all of you since I was on a CCHP call a couple of weeks ago, and they had somebody who was presenting on what they were doing at their health center. And I think it was, I don't know, I don't remember if that one was FQHC specific or not, but they were sharing that they do a broadband like questionnaire before they even like schedule any kind of telehealth for the patient. And that was the first time I'd heard of that suggestion.
That's interesting. That's a good idea. I wonder if that was out of, I know the California Telehealth Resource Center did something for under the CCHP order before. I'll have to look back. I'll ask the guy that runs the webinars and see if we can get a copy of that and see where that was at.
You know what? Now that I'm saying that, it might not have been CCHP. It was part of the telemedicine hack series.
Yes, and the TRCs are running that now. Okay. If it was in 2021, yeah. Okay, I'll ask Aria.
So they were going to send out a copy of that person, if that person could share. Obviously, then there's a lot of steps to that. But I haven't seen it come through yet. But
yeah, I had not heard that. But that's good. Hey, Joe. Kelsey might be interested in some of your patient provider stuff. Would you be willing to share it if I give you permission?
Yeah, I'll get a couple of them pulled up. What do you think, Kelsey? What is it that you do?
So me and my role, I work for the Primary Care Association of Michigan. So we don't serve any kind of patients, but we, of course, assist the health centers with anything that pops up. The FQHCs in Michigan that pops up with any kind of, issues or questions or around all the telehealth changes that have happened over the last year, anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, you may not be able to yet. Actually, it's Carolyn's meeting, so she has to give you permission.
All right, here we go. All right, so I'll go ahead and pull this one up. This was one that I just recently finished. And this one is just designed for, if it'll load, designed for providers and just helping to educate them and prepare them for telemedicine appointments and just basically how to handle themselves and interact with patients. And then there's some specific information on engaging with children and elderly populations. If it'll pop up. Here it is. And so it just kind of breaks down, basic telehealth etiquette for providers. Like I said, how to engage in an elderly population and different things to just consider in those appointments. And then just some more very provider specific things to take into consideration when you're thinking about developing, a telehealth program or, just in preparing for an appointment. And then there are some others that are very patient specific. I know you said you don't do anything directly, but we have one that just breaks down very simple definitions of what telehealth is. I don't know why these are all taking so long to load right now. But then there's another one too that, so this just breaks down some simple definitions and helping people get an understanding of what telehealth is and what words to use to describe it, as well as probably the most important thing on this one is down here. There are resources and the one that's really important is the digital health directory. Going to that, you can select whether you are a provider or patient. And then there's a selection drop down where you can choose whether you're searching for telehealth, telemedicine appointments, telemental health services. And it's just a really good tool to, for helping patients and providers locate. Actually, I can just pull up and show you. You can choose that you're a patient and then click and figure out what it is that you want to search. And if you want to search telemedicine, it'll pull up all these different companies, the description for them and how they can help. And if you want that, I can actually go ahead, I'll copy that and I'll put it in the chat here in a minute. But yeah, and then so there's one that specifically helps walk patients through preparing for a telemedicine visit. I have created General Assembly navigational resources for each state in our region. And so I don't know if that would be beneficial to you for Michigan's. Is, it just helps people identify and find legislation and stay up to date on that information as it's changing and evolving.
That's really cool. Thank you for sharing. How are those, can I access those resources and where do I find them? Thanks, Becky.
Yes. Yeah, all those resources are on our UMTRC website, and we can drop a link in the chat here.
Yeah, I got that one. I'll share my screen, and you got to see a special behind the scenes look at the magic and how it's. Carolyn, please let me share my screen. Thank you. So on from our main site, you can go. Of course, it now doesn't want to refresh. You can go down here to Telehealth Resource Toolbox, and under Resources. So some of the General Assembly legislation stuff is here for all 4 states. The patient resources are here, and some of the provider resources are here. So most of them are going to be under the patient resources. That first one you shared, Joe, is that one uploaded yet? I don't know that it is.
I'm not sure if the telehealth interactions is up yet. If it was, it'd be under provider resources.
Oh, under provider, okay.
Yeah, because that one was more geared specifically towards providers.
But... Nope, not yet. Okay, so we'll get that up in the next day or so. One of my favorite ones is this telehealth workflow, because this is really good for both patients and providers. Just to kind of see, what's going on the patient side, and all of the things that the patient doesn't see that happens on the back end, as far as making that visit as seamless as possible for the patient.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So, but yeah, all of these are publicly available.
Awesome. I'll have to go in and go back through that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything else anyone else wants to share or ask about? This is a pretty open ask the experts, so there's no question is a dumb question today. Kelsey, do you still have snow on the ground up there?
Sorry. Yeah, we have a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's over the last probably 3 days. Quite a bit of it has melted, but yeah.
So. Okay. I can tell you, as we start to look forward to the summer, we are planning in our March newsletter, which you probably do get. It'll go out maybe late next week or the beginning of the following week. We are going to open up speaker proposals for our annual conference in July, July 20th through 22nd, and that will be in South Bend, Indiana. All fingers crossed. If the numbers here in the state continue the way they are and our speakers are able to travel, then it will be in person.
It's pretty exciting.
Yes, we are all ready to get out from behind our computer screens.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, if there's no other questions, then I'll let you guys have a little bit of time back in your day and wish everyone a happy weekend.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing the resources.
You're very welcome. Bye. Thanks all.